Palm Sunday is, I think, probably my most favorite in the church calendar, especially as an adult. Maybe as a kid, you remember running around wild with palms and thinking to yourself, wow, we get to run in church, how weird. Maybe some of you remember I've shared this sort of teen trauma where my pastor, you're welcome, teens, made us walk up and down Main Street in Plattsmouth with a donkey. And I wanted to melt into the concrete a variety of times. It's quite the deal. I'm sure he had a point, and I'm sure it was great, and I get it now, but then the cool kids were parked by their cars. But there's this thing about Palm Sunday that I want to go back to every year, and this is what we do in church: is we tell the same story over and over and over, because it seems so hard for us to hear it, to take it in, to learn it, to be it, to feel it, and then actually to live it out and to offer it into the world and to be a part of it. And so the thing about Palm Sunday that's important to remember is that Jesus is going for the Passover. He's gone for the Passover before, he's gone all the time. There's a story where Mary and Joseph leave him. He's tween Jesus, and he gets left behind, and he's in the temple, and then he gives this tween response of did you not know where I would be? And Mary does not end him at that time, which is a story I like to do on Mother's Day. So come for that. Sometimes in the church, historically, we look at this and it just seems like such a miracle. Oh, all these people lined up. All of them got their cloaks and they laid them on the ground, and they got what few leafy greens are around in a desert, arid climate, which are pretty important, mind you, to lay on the ground. Wow, how did that happen? They didn't even have social media. There were no phones. How could you organize before Facebook? Sorry, that's just me. And probably now it's not even Facebook, but it's something I don't even know. And I think we take that edge out of Jesus because it's easier for us to follow this kind of magical sense of Jesus than it is for us to follow this Jesus that organizes and asks hard things. Folks have been asked to put their cloaks down so a donkey with a peasant on top can walk over it, and it's not like they have a whole bunch of clothes that they're waiting to take to Goodwill. This is important to them. And it's probably so important to them in a way that it's hard for us as modern Western Americans to understand. And so when we think of the Passover, I think we need to remember it in its context. And for us, it's probably more similar to thinking about Christmas. Christmas is this holiday where everybody comes home, everybody gathers, there's family of choice. You go home, you travel a lot, there's airport stories on the Today Show. What will happen if there's a massive storm? It could be so much drama with the airports. This is the kind of thing for Passover. Everybody goes to Jerusalem. Everybody's coming to Jerusalem. You're going to see all of the family members, the ones you love, the ones you're ooh, that's rough after the last election. I know that doesn't happen to anybody, but anyway. You see everybody at the Passover. Everybody is gathered. All of their differences, all of their awkward moments, all of their stuff, all of the food, all of the family, all of the traditions, all of the traumas and secrets and weirdness and love. It's all there. And then there's this other layer to the Passover that Jesus is celebrating, which is Roman oppression, which is important for us to understand if we're going to be a part of this week at all. Which is, there's two parades going on. Jesus has this very, I think, planned processional into Jerusalem. And on the other end of town, there is another processional into town, and it is the Roman processional into town. See, Passover is a celebration of Jewish liberation, of Hebrew independence. It is the day that they remember ardently and hopefully of who they are and how they left and emancipated themselves from enslavement in Egypt, and how they wandered through the wilderness, a community that struggled, right? Like, it's easier to think about this as something ethereal and far off instead of thinking about, like, how hard is it to be a community that has to wander through the wilderness together and deal with all those differences and everybody's different needs and everybody's personal agendas and everybody's egos that get bruised so easily? Like, that's the miracle of all of these stories, is people in community being connected. And so Jesus gathers people to be connected in a parade that draws attention to how absurd the Roman parade is. They come in through the stately gate, this beautiful gate, with this procession that is probably loud. You can imagine stallions, like steeds, like horses that are well fed and well kept. And you can imagine armor and breastplates and the sun glinting off of it. You can imagine a very different kind of procession. And then Jesus on the other end of town with his peasants and their cloaks and their branches, singing a song of ascension, an ancient psalm. This is not just a psalm that is for Jesus. Blessed is the one who comes in the name of the Lord. It is in the Psalms. It's actually called the Psalms of Ascension because they're going uphill, right? They are a community going uphill, literally and figuratively. They are literally going uphill. Jerusalem is uphill. They have been coming as pilgrims from far away. They are going uphill. And this work of community, this work of independence, this work of caring for each other, it's uphill too. There are two parades. And we are always asked on this day of who will we follow? Which parade are we a part of? This moment with the peasants gets so noticeable and out of hand, maybe not out of hand, but makes folks nervous, right? Jesus, what are you doing? The Romans are going to notice, and when they notice, they're not just going to get mad at you, they're going to get mad at all of us. Have you met them? And so the Pharisees, who just common PSA, they're not bad guys. Like, I know we've been taught to be like, boo, Pharisees, but they are fine. They are a reform sect. They are trying to change their community too, right? That's that hard part of community. They want a better world for their family and friends too. And so the Pharisees say to Jesus, "Teacher, order your disciples to stop." And he answered, "I tell you, if these were silent, the stones would shout out." He's echoing a more ancient prophet's words. And he's reminding them that the injustice is so strong that the whole earth quakes with it, that even these stones that seem quiet and still are filled with this hope that cries out for something new. Community work is hard. And I think it's essentially why we exist at all. And Palm Sunday has been like, this strange, powerful reminder of that often here, figuratively and literally at the Abbey. Almost every year. This year, we are about on the year anniversary of the Sunday when we had a bomb threat. When the 9 o'clock service had to leave so that the police could clear the building. And we took communion outside. And I wept and preached and felt something that I had never felt before. And we gathered and we cried and we hugged and we resolved to be present. And there were certainly some folks who made a choice to find a different church. And that is fair, and I affirm that for them. And I thought, would anybody come back? Would anybody be here? I didn't know how to let the people know who were coming at 11, hey, this just happened. I don't know if you want to stay or come or go. And over this time and over this year, we received so much care and compassion and support for all of the different things that we needed, for all of the different supports that we needed, for all of the different learning about law enforcement and about structures and about how we might care for our space. Those folks came along. For all of the meals and the cards and the gifts, they showed up. And it wasn't just last year's Palm Sunday, but the Palm Sunday the year before. We had a man standing outside telling everybody to not come in because I was leading you astray. And I might be. It's not impossible. You have to decide. I do have chocolate, though, and I hope that we have fun, if nothing else. We have been at the crossroads of these hard spaces in community and what community can look like and what it might be like it. And we have seen it in the most loving and the most terrorizing ways at the same time. Maybe not the most, but a lot of them. And yet, by fall of last year, we were beginning to see this room full and overfull and full and overfull and all the chairs out and all the spaces filled again and again and again. To where we have to begin having real conversations about our growth and where we can go and how we phase into our next Abbey. This is the gift and the challenge of Palm Sunday. Is community work is hard. It puts us in risky spaces. It puts us in the midst of this relationship that isn't easy, that is tender, that is sometimes awkward, that we don't always do right, even when we try really hard. And that sometimes we get tired and need a nap, honestly. But it is the gift of our call. And it is a gift that we can be together. And I am ever grateful that we are still here and that we are blooming into something new. May it be so. Amen.
Let it be, let it be, let it be, let it be. Whisper words of wisdom, let it be. Let it be, let it be, let it be, let it be. There will be an answer, let it be. Let it be, let it be, let it be, let it be. Whisper words of wisdom, let it be. Let it be, let it be, let it be, let it be. There will be an answer, let it be.
As we prepare for this time of our offering, this spiritual practice of gratitude and abundance and generosity, as we have our friends get ready to lead us in singing, I want to invite you, if you feel called to give in and through this community of faith, We want you to know that you make a difference, keeping our doors of welcome and inclusion open wide. Because you give, we will be a space and a presence of welcome and inclusion, of hospitality and care on campus and in this community and beyond. As we prepare for the offering, if you're someone who gives electronically or online, we want to invite you to take one of the envelopes and to name that and to participate in the offering. And if you are a guest visiting with us for the first time, your presence is a gift. For it, we are grateful. It is gift enough. Will you pray with me as one more thing. I appreciate there was like an actual move to the head bowing, which you, good listening skills. At 9 o'clock, we celebrated Rick and Rowan joining us, becoming members of this United Methodist Church. And the invitation to membership is this question of prayers, presence, gifts, service, witness. Do you participate? Do you support with your prayers, your presence, your gifts, your service, and your witness? It is about taking shared ownership in this work together. It is not like a benefit. If someone goes to the hospital and you're like, I need the pastor or the pastoral care team, we will come. I'm not going to be like, let's check the records on this. It is about participating fully in the life of community. And so we give thanks for their welcome and this call of remembering our baptism, which asks the question, do you resist evil, injustice, and oppression in whatever forms they present themselves? And so as we enter into this song, I invite you to be mindful of that question for just a moment. Will you pray with me? Gracious and generous God, grant us the courage to sense your urging. Grant us the courage to hear your call in our lives. And grant us the courage to follow. May it be so. Amen.